Heather. I'm an artist here at the Animation Academy at Disney's Hollywood Studios in Florida. Today we're going to draw the honorary ambassador of green to the United Nations. It's Tinkerbell. Everybody get your pencils, and here we go. So we're going to actually start out with a simple basic circle about the size of a baseball. We're going to put that near the center of our paper. We're going to go ahead and kind of warm up a little bit and practice drawing our circles with our shoulders. When you're ready, we're going to go ahead and lower that pencil down onto the paper. Do it several times over and over. Going to get a good feel of it. Don't worry about it being a perfect circle. Once you're ready for the next step, we're going to go in and put in our vertical construction line, which means we're going to split that in half. We're going to just draw that in pretty fast. Think about the Tower of Terror. And then we're going to go ahead and put in the horizontal line. And that's going to be about 1/3 of the way from the bottom of the circle. Back and forth. It's really fast. I'm going to help you out and put another horizontal line for the top of our eyes. That's nearly about where the halfway point of the circle is. So we'll go ahead and sketch that out. Again, don't worry about these being perfectly straight lines. These are just construction lines to help you place the eyes, nose, and mouth on our character. We're going to go outside first and then put in the details. So what I want to try to do is get in that chin. And to help you get the chin in, I like the bottom of the circle, and I take about where the top horizontal line is. I'm going to bring this down into the bottom of the circle, into the open area. Okay, so we know where our thumb is now. We're going to actually make a mark for her chin. That way you remember. And then we're going to actually bring in her head a little bit, because your skull kind of comes in right where your eyes are. So we're going to look at the side of the circle, bring it in just a little bit. And same thing on the right side. Take the right side of that circle. We're going to curve it in just a tiny bit, get a little bit of a curve in her face. But we want to kind of bring it out a little bit for her cheeks too. So what we're going to do, we're just going to sketch it in very, very lightly at first. And bring it into that line. Just angle it right in there. She's got more of a rounder face, not quite as much of a point. She is a fairy, so she's not a human, but she's a fun fairy. Kind of bring this in. Just do the best you can to get the same thing on both sides. Okay. So one little trick is you can take your paper off. So you just want to hold it up and look at it backwards, and you can see if your cheeks are off. And hold it up against a good light too. Okay. So we're going to go back into the drawing now once we fix that. And we're going to go on top of her head and draw in an oval. So we're going to go back and forth right across that vertical line, back and forth. And we're going to go about the size of a Mickey ear. So we're just going to go ahead and wrap it around, using that shoulder once again, so we'll get good practice with our shoulders. Still going very, very light at first. You can always go back in and darken in lines, and you can change it up as many times as you want, because she's not finished until you say it's finished, because you're the artist. Okay, so now we got where her bun is going to be, and then we're going to go ahead and still work on the outside of her head. So we're going to look right here at the horizontal line, at the vertical line where they meet, and we're going to draw kind of a V shape. And the hair doesn't have to be specific. We just want to get a nice little side swept bangs on the right and to the left. So you can play around with this however you want to. Try not to think too much about the hair. Just go for it and just have fun with it. Little curved lines going out to the right. We're going to go in there and put a few little V's. And then we're going to trace over the right side of the circle for right now. We're going to go over on the left side and do a few other little curved lines. Just kind of keep it nice and loose. The letter V's. And then we're going to come over here at the top horizontal line. We're going to bring the curved line outside that circle. We're going to keep it above that circle and start to draw through where the bun's going to be. Now we're not going to darken in this line right here anyway. It's just going to help us out when we try to sketch out that hair. So we're just going to bring this up and around, and we're going to bring it over to the right side and let it stop at the horizontal line. Make sure it comes outside her head. Just give it enough volume in there. Just kind of got those nice little poofy bangs. I like to kind of think of those 80s bangs, kind of. So now what we want to do is go ahead and put some volume on the side of her head too. So I'm going to look at the bottom horizontal line, and we're going to do a little curved line going up into where her bangs are, right into this area. From the bottom horizontal line up. We're going to do the same thing on the right side. We're going to take the bottom horizontal line and curve it up. Okay. Once you get that shape in there, we're going to do one more little curved line underneath it, so it's just kind of tiered a little bit. So you take the bottom of the circle and bring your finger out to the side of the cheek, or your pencil to the side of the cheek, and just start with the bottom of the ear there and just bring it up into her hair. The top part of her ear is kind of covered up by her hair. So we're going to do the same thing on the right side. We're going to look at the bottom of that circle. We're going to do a little curved line going up into the hair, so it looks like her ear is kind of hidden in her hair on the right side. And that will be her hairdo. So now we have basically the outside of Tinkerbell, and then we're going to go into the inside, and it'll help you with your features and everything at first. And if you want, we'll go back into the bun and kind of tidy that up in just a little bit too. But now you still have everything very light. We're going to go ahead and work on these eyes, and you can eliminate these little vertical lines as you practice with it. But to make sure we keep the spacing right for the eyes, you do want to make sure that you have a little bit of space between the side of the eye and the side of her head. So I'm going to draw a very light vertical line just to the inside, maybe it's about a pencil width. And then we're going to go on the same thing on the right side of her head, about a pencil width between the side of her head. And then we're going to go ahead and look at the vertical line in the left side of the circle, and about find the center between the vertical line and left side of the circle, and draw in just a light vertical line. This will help you with your eyes. And again, once you practice it more and more, you can eliminate these lines if you need to. So we take the vertical line and the right side of the head. You're going to find the center once again. And the reason we're kind of doing this is to make sure that you do keep a good spacing. I'm trying to adjust it a little bit, just kind of change it up. Make sure that we have about an eye width between the two eyes, and that way you don't get it too close together or too far apart. So you don't want to make her eyes too close together. So now what we want to do is go ahead and draw in a football shape for her eyes. So her eyes kind of point up at an angle a little bit. So we look at that top horizontal line. We're going to curve this down to that vertical line. And we're going to go on the right side, kind of trace down the little vertical line we did for that little square and bring it down into a point. So basically you're just rounding off those corners at the top and at the bottom right there. And do the same thing on the other side. Just do the best you can with the eyes and getting the same thing on the left side. And just sketching this out at first, kind of get it nice and light. And then we're going to go ahead. Right now, she kind of needs those irises to really bring her to life, because she starts to look like an alien right now. So we're going to actually draw in an oval right here in the middle of her eyes. Now what you want to do is make sure you draw in the full oval for her iris. So I'm going to put it a little bit closer to her eyes, but try not to get it too close to the inside of the eye. And if you draw in a circle, it's going to help you see that spacing right there near the top. And obviously you got spacing on the left side. But if you cheat that circle, it's going to get too close to the inside of the eye and you end up with a cross-eyed Tinkerbell. So just try to draw in those circles a little bit close to the inside. Draw in that full round shape. And then we're going to draw in another circle inside each one of those. So we're just going to go ahead and sketch that out. Same thing on the right side. Just draw in another circle. Now this is the pupil, and the bigger one is the iris, and hers are blue. So that'll be for her main part of the eyes. Right up above each of the eyelids, you have a little curve or the crease of your eyelid. And then you do the same thing on the left side. Go ahead and bring that in. So I'm going to go ahead and trace over the top part of our eyelid, kind of get that done. And that's where you really want to put the darker of the lines on your eyes. And play around with your line quality on the bottoms of your eyes and on the sides. You don't want to get too thick at the bottom and the sides all the way around. So I make sure you have just a little bit of a variation there. And we'll trace over your iris and your pupil. And then on top of your eyelids, you're going to flow out to the right for the right eyelashes. So we're going to curve off of the eyelid and make a little bit of an S curve. Just let it flow back and forth. And do it several times off of that one so you can get lots of practice. And we're going to go over on the right and just let it flow a little bit. Just a few little fine little eyelashes. One more. We're going to do the same thing on the left side. Eyelid's going to curve out to the left and down. You're going to come out to the left, back down again. Okay, just do it 4 times or 5. 4 or 5 times is good. And then her nose is right at the bottom of the circle. So remember we talked about the ears, about where the bottom of the circle is last time. So you want to draw in a nice light little oval just to help you remember where that nose is going to be. A lot of times when we draw human faces, we'll draw little circles there. And to keep the nose pretty simple, we're just going to trace over like maybe the top part. And we look at the bottom of the nose and just trace over just a little bit of that corner right there on the bottom of the nose. And on the right side, trace over a little bit at this corner too. So now what you want to do is go ahead and draw in an upper lip. And for the upper lip, it's roughly just a little bit lower than the bottom of the nose, kind of where the cheeks are, kind of lines up in that area. And then we look back at the pupil and come down underneath the nose and draw in the dimple right there. That will help you out a little bit when you draw her when she's smiling. So you just draw a little dimple right there. You can play around with that. Same thing on the right side. Look at the pupil, come down to the right side and just draw in a little dimple. And now what you want to do is basically draw in kind of a happy face smile for her upper lip. So we're going to bring this down and kind of give a little bit of a curl for her upper lips, a little bit of a curl in there in that line and bring it over on the right side. Just take your time and just do the best you can. Again, your dimples will line up on the same level, so I like to take my pencil to the top where the upper lip, make sure our dimples are pretty straight. Otherwise, if you have it down a little bit, you might have a crooked smile. And then we're going to look at the dimple on the right side so she doesn't look as frustrated. So we're going to go down the line and right about where it starts to curve in, we're going to curve down. Like maybe more of a letter U shape here. Or just kind of a nice hammock shape. Now if you feel more comfortable just coming back up on the left side and bring it together in the middle, you can. So we just start on the left and bring it in. And then inside your mouth, you're going to draw in another line for her bottom lip. So to start on the right side, come into the vertical line and bring it over to the left side. And we can just leave that open space in the middle for her teeth. Just leave that alone. And the bottom lip is a little bit thicker. So that will be her bottom lip. And then we'll just go ahead and trace over the side of your cheeks once you like it. And if you need to change it up still, you can still change up your line. The right side and bring this in. And then we're going to go ahead and put in a few eyebrows because what really makes her characters more expressive is putting those eyebrows in, obviously that smile. So we'll just go the vertical line, right side of that circle. Start on the inside part of the eye, come up, and you can go through the hair. Just have the hair kind of overlap the eyebrow. So when you go back in, you'll just darken in the hair on top of the eyebrow, and it covers it up, so you don't have to worry about that. So we'll just start on the inside part of the eye, up above the horizontal line once again, and just do a little curved line around the eye. Just be creative and have fun in art. That's what art's all about. Just enjoying yourself and keeping the positive attitude. And you can do this. So we're going to actually trace over part of her ears. On the left side, and also her hair. Now, Peter Pan was done in the 1950s. And she is the creation of Marc Davis. He is one of Walt Disney's 9 old men. And you might be able to see some of Marc Davis's handprints outside of our attraction here when you come in and visit us. I invite you to check that out and look around at Marc Davis's handprints. She is also the imagination of British author James M. Barrie. It's from a 1904 stage play, Peter Pan, and that's where Walt Disney went in there and loved it so much. He's like, hey, I got to make an animated movie one day. And then we're going to go ahead and trace over part of her bun. And when I don't just trace over that circle, I actually just come up and kind of curve in a little bit, kind of give her some little flyaways in her bun. And have like a little at the top, just kind of come out and right back in. But you can play around with this however you want to. You can make it really messy, but kind of give her that little bit of a texture in her bun, in her hair. And do a little curves line out to the right. And again, just play around with it however you'd like. Just gonna bring it, make it a little squishy right there on this side. As you can see, I'm going to bring this line out a little bit more. Change that line. And then we're going to go ahead and do a little bit of her ribbon, just at the top where the top part of her head meets the bun. We're just going to pull this up, this line up just a little bit. And on the right side, come back down to the right side of that circle. Now she does have a little bit of a ribbon hanging down behind her bun, but we're not going to see it in the front view pose. It's usually behind. And then we can shade in the pupils to really start to bring Tinkerbell to life. And we're going to shade in her irises. Now you want to make sure that you keep this one a little bit lighter for her iris. And then we're going to actually shade in part of her ribbon here too. Just keep it light and keep it loose and have fun. Of course, the last step that you ever want to do with your drawings is to make sure that you sign your artwork here at the bottom. So just make sure you put your name on it. And I always like to encourage everybody just to add a little bit of pixie dust somewhere on the drawing. And you're more than welcome to date it if you want to. That way you can always look back at your drawings. You can see the progression in your art, and that's always a good thing to do. And there you go, it's Tinkerbell! Come see me and my fellow artists here at the Animation Academy. Maybe we'll teach you how to draw one of your favorite Disney characters. Until next time, I wish you faith, trust, and pixie dust.